ladies and gentlemen, Valerie Micheludi. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Come on.
Hi, everyone. Jimmy Gretsch for this opportunity to speak with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes,
Did you hear the clap?
fantastic.
We were clapping so hard over here.
And I'm glad I'm not able to jump into that game because I didn't really know. So I'm glad my co-facilitator, Bill, knew some of those bands.
All right, take
I
it
would
away.
have teamed up with you, Bill. Awesome. Okay, so I'm really grateful to be a part of the discussion. I was really looking forward to being there in person. I'm in Toronto, and as you can tell, I'm in my hotel room because my connecting flight didn't take off. We waited till just past midnight, but unfortunately, sometimes flights are out of our control. So I'm really grateful for everyone on the organizing committee to set us up here today to still share an amazing, positive, good news story of what NAN's been up to in partnership with the communities and Noojimo Health. So really excited to share some of that good news from the pilot and what are next steps and what are we looking for with the voices of the community and the feedback from the pilot. So before I get started and introduce myself, I've invited and asked my co-CEO from Noojimo Health, Bill, to open for us and also close for us for the presentation. So miigwech, Bill, for being here.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, Val, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can the group?
All right, I'm just going to light us a quick smudge here. You know, there's nothing worse than trying to participate in a texting game and autocorrect gets a hold of your words. So please forgive me for that. I was just trying to say tears for fears before everybody else. And I just about fell off my chair when my answer came out. So please excuse that. All right, I'm holding this smudge up for us all. I'm holding this up for our children, the ones that we're trying to reach and trying to make it feel safe to talk about how we feel in our minds and our hearts, and how that we're able to be there with and for each other in this pilot project that I know is moving nicely through the community. So I hold that up there for the times that we are now able to get together and talk to each other about our feelings as community members, as relatives. I put this up here for what you might need today. As caregivers, as people that take care of other people's families when we're trying to do our work, I always ask people about that back burner. What's going on in the back of your mind when you're at work trying to do your good things, and then when you are finished your day, that back burner becomes a stove, and then you have to go back and take care of people that you love. So I put that out there for you. I put it out there for your kids. I put it out there for your parents, your grandparents, and your children's children. Now I offer this opportunity to even spend some time with you today and take good care of yourselves. And selfishness is a good thing when it makes you well. Yeah, we'll go on. Thanks, Val.
Miigwech, Bill. I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Fingers crossed it works. Can everyone see the Noojimo slide? If I expand it, does it get bigger? How about now? I can't hear.
I can't see the screen. I can see the top part of your screen, Val, but I can't see anything else.
Okay, so maybe I'll just go back to it and see if I can make it smaller. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay, so I guess we'll have to make the best of it with the slideshow being more reduced. I hope everyone could still see this. So yes, miigwech for today, we're excited to share with you a little bit about Noojimo, and more importantly, a very exciting pilot in collaboration with NAN and 6 pilot communities, 6 schools. This pilot has reached over or just about 1,000 students. Really, really exciting the amount of students that have been a part of this and leading this change. is a surprise to us because we weren't anticipating that many classes. There's approximately 50 classes that participated in this pilot this year, and over 700 mental wellness lessons that was created and delivered. So really, really exciting stuff. And we want to, make some time, hopefully at the end, to see what your thoughts are, what are your reactions, and how can we continue this good work together. So Bill and I are grateful to be a part of Noojimo Health, and we'll tell you a little bit about it in a moment. Noojimo meaning to heal, it from a mental wellness lens. And when we speak to language knowledge keepers, it's really about this perspective of your mind shifting in motion towards Minobamadzwan, towards your own wellness, and shifting that perspective in your mind. And so this is really the circle we're a part of. What we'll cover today is a bit about Noojimo, and then we'll dive into this exciting 3-year pilot where nearly 1,000 students have been proactively building their mental wellness toolkit. So actually, Bill, I wanted to ask you if you could jump in, since you were part of the co-creation of Noojimo, to share how Noojimo came to be.
Sure, it all happened over some toast and eggs, actually. We were starting a program at a hospital that I worked at for about 41 years. And then the last 5, I was able to get an Indigenous specific mental health program where we were running our own mental health program right inside the hospital. We had our own social workers and nurses, and we had a doc that was working alongside us. Just as I got the program going, of course, COVID came and we had to do everything virtually. And it really was a difficult start because not everybody wanted to do it. The knowledge keepers were struggling with it because I didn't even know how to Zoom, and people that were receiving care were getting it 2-dimensionally. But it started to work and it started to be comfortable. And as it is right now, we're used to it. And we went up north in the northern communities because of COVID. No one was able to get up there and talk and help people that were helping people. And I said over the toast and eggs, and one morning as we got up to do our last day, I said, who's doing an Indigenous EAP? Nobody. No one's taking care of us. We're not taking care of each other. And how do we start that virtually? And after that, it kind of just snowballed into a whole lot of other projects, like taking care of family members and relatives, not just EAP. And it rolled into a lot of different sorts of mental health programs, mental wellness programs. That's kind of how it happened.
Mm-hmm. And Noojimo just turned 3 years old. So the vision of Noojimo is to be an additional, and we really emphasize the word additional, virtual healing support, because we know that for us and for our clinicians, we're all Indigenous. 99% are First Nation, and we have one Métis, and we're looking to also partner with an Inuk clinician. But ultimately, everyone recognizes, and everyone's played sports or hockey in our circle. So we always say, the communities are obviously the star goalie, and we are here as the backup goalie. So ultimately, our vision is if we could be a backup goalie to each community, then that's our vision. We certainly don't take offense when, there's no longer a need to have an additional support, and we can support others because we know the demand for caregivers, for community leaders. It's greater than all of us put together to help out. So we're here as a backup goalie to each community. And so the purpose for Noojimo's clinic is it's the first all Indigenous virtual mental wellness clinic. And so appointments can be made this week. They can be made via phone or by video. And that's the vision, is having that timely, culturally safe care. And it's led by an Indigenous clinician who's two-eyed seeing. Ultimately, the purpose is to meet folks where they're at, ensure that, whether they're very connected to their culture, whatever culture, or whether they're looking for support on their identity and connection to it, the clinicians are ensuring that they feel heard and seen, and helping them develop their own version of Minobamadzwan. All right. So the values of Noojimo, our code of conduct, are the 7 grandfather teachings. And we come here today, one of my favorite teachings I received from Bill a few years ago was the one for humility. And so I do share, I want to acknowledge my humility today in sharing this presentation to all of you. You know, I'm not pretending that we have all the answers, but I'm certainly excited about the opportunity to collaborate with many more of you in sharing gifts and braiding our gifts and strengths to support mental wellness for the students. And so there's a quick video here that Noojimo has. And so I'll share this PowerPoint so that everyone can see it, but it's exciting. It's just 2 minutes long and it really talks about, it's actually Bill here who invited Headspace. It's an international meditation app. They approached Noojimo to support meditations from an Indigenous lens. And so this video talks about the introduction to Noojimo and what it means from Bill's lens, from a clinical lens, since he's also a registered social worker and nurse as well, registered nurse. So I wish everyone could be here, but this is a snapshot of the Noojimo Health Circle. And I don't know if you recognize any beautiful faces here, but certainly one circle that I'm super grateful to be a part of. Randy Ray and her partner are the founders, and Kathy Absalom, Dr. Kathy Absalom, Dr. Clifford Mushquash are the senior advisors of Noojimo. And there's Bill and I. We have our office Auntie Gail there, who everyone just, you know, where's Auntie Gail? Let me talk to her. So she's the favorite of the circle for sure. And no one has qualms about it. But she helps people, you know, if they've never done virtual wellness counseling, she holds everyone's hand and walks you through what to expect. And then all of our beautiful clinicians who I want to acknowledge do this important work and come from a variety of First Nation communities and blend and braid their knowledges from being a registered social worker with their lived experience. So with many communities, we humbly are able to support as a backup goalie, of course, all of these communities, First Nation communities that are highlighted in red. I know it's difficult to see, but there are 135 so far. So we're very grateful to work with all of these communities. And there's the beautiful list of them that we want to acknowledge the courage of, you know, the people in these communities having the courage to reach out or the referrals, right? So how do we collaborate to support when there's a capacity shortage, when there's burnout, when there's, you know, we're not a crisis clinic, but we certainly support the crises we face from a continuity of care perspective. So why Noojimo? It's all Indigenous and it's working with Indigenous communities. It's all Indigenous providers and that two-eyed seeing. There are some other reasons there. It's telehealth secure, HIPAA compliant, of course. We do support NIHB billing. And really what we want to talk about is the service that ties. One of the services is this pilot with NAN. But ultimately, when you look at Noojimo, there's two arms to it. There's the clinic side and then the educational side. And so the clinic side is there for anybody who wants to book an appointment. You could go online and there's an online booking system at noojimohealth.ca. Or you could call the office Auntie Gail and she'll do it for you happily. Or there's these educational programs. And so this is where we're really humbled to work with NAN on the MINO-B, which is caring for students. We also have caring for caregivers, caring for community leaders, and supporting that as an additional support. So I'll just cruise through a little bit of these slides because I think they're very familiar, but just want to acknowledge the areas of support for counseling. And of course, very layered and complex at times. And so we want to honor that. How it works, we talked about that a little bit, but if you go to noojimohealth.ca, you can either call our office Auntie or book online. I often say, I mean, connectivity, it's tough with bandwidth for connection, but if you can FaceTime someone, you can reach Noojimo. So that's really the example I share. And if not, then we happily do telephone calls. So in summary of Noojimo, there are 4 takeaways. There's 4 ways to collaborate together. We support, you know, capacity with clinical care for that additional, you know, backup goalie. We need mental wellness counseling. And how do we do that? And we can support that for 6 months, for, you know, a year, however long you would feel is needed as a support in the backup goalie. We do that, and virtual counseling is there. The second way is we do caring for caregivers workshops and sharing circles to support that, you know, the caring, the carer who always cares, who always gives. And so shifting that to take care of the caregiver as well. And same goes for community leaders, as it's difficult, right, to carry that as a leader, and then where do we go to, right? So how do we support everybody from a holistic wraparound lens? And then last but not least, our NAN Minimal Mods Win School Mental Wellness Pilot. So excited to share. This was the first year of the pilot. It's a 3-year pilot. It's funded by FISC. There were 6 pilot schools selected by NAN. And yeah, here we go for the NAN Minimal Mods Win pilot. But before I do, I just want to pause there to ask if there's any questions about Noojimo or anything that was presented. Yeah, okay. All right, so can you see the screen? Good. Okay. So NAN's Minimal Mods Win pilot, or that good life for the student, for the youth, is acknowledging 2 things. The clinic started during the pandemic, and we were seeing an increasingly amount of youth reaching out for the clinic support. And then when we were coupled that with the network and connections and relationships that Noojimo had, we were seeing more increasingly the mental wellness and mental health in classrooms was really impeding the ability to continuously build on their skill sets of learning in the classroom. So we see that teachers were higher rates of burnout, mental health, higher rates within the classroom. So really, there was a conversation or a couple conversations between NAN and Noojimo about, okay, this is an opportunity to perhaps find a way with the right people and include everybody of how do we merge the teachers' skill sets with Indigenous mental health professionals' skill sets. So it was really, that was the unique difference there, was how do we braid those 2 gifts, 2 sets of gifts of what a teacher brings to a student in their development, and then what a mental health care provider can bring, and how do we braid those 2 knowledge sets together to create the conditions for the student to develop their own wisdom, their own agency of what is their path to wellness, their path to healing, and really create the students' agency in their own ability to heal, to create change, to build their skill sets. And so we're there to support that growth, as the tree here is pictured. Okay, so what does this look like? So this fall, NAN's Minimal Mods Win School Mental Wellness Program launched in 6 separate schools, which we'll highlight in a moment. And they were nearly 1,000 students from grade 1 to grade 10. This initiative was designed to equip students and empower them with the skills to comprehend, to express, to navigate their mental health and wellness in strengthen that skill set. So the Minimal Mods Win is a 2-eyed seeing pilot where we're leading with Indigenous knowledge and integrating Western, the curriculum from the Ministry of Health. This was all braided together, and this is to create more agency for students, more healthy relationships, more stronger communication skills, and strengthening their emotional strength in the students, So this is the team so far from a facilitation standpoint from Noojimo. We have Jenna, Clifford, Debbie. So I'll just highlight Jenna's from Sagamok Anishinaabeg First Nation. Clifford is from Pays Flat First Nation, and Debbie is from Temagami First Nation. Eunice is from just outside of Ottawa. I meant to write her First Nation there. Forgive me. I can certainly, when there's a Q&A, I can jump to my notes. And then Brian was displaced in the 60s group, but currently lives in Eswakmok, Sudbury, Ontario. And so here are the schools. we have the 6 participating schools. And if you're in the room right now, I really want to acknowledge you. If you want to wave, if you're representing these schools, this would be great to see who's in the room. Enchoke Birchdick School in Pikangikum First Nation, Johnny Terrio Memorial School in Araland First Nation, Lawrence Wesley Education Center in Cat Lake First Nation, Mary Jane Navo Memorial School in Matagami First Nation, and Pelican Falls High School in Pelican Falls First Nation. And this, last but not least, Simon Jacob Memorial Education Center from Webequie First Nation. So just going to pause there and check in to see if anyone's here in the room right now. Because I want to acknowledge the work of the support letters and all the work you do for this to become true as a pilot.
Hi, Valerie. Just to let you know, Webequie and Araland are here.
Amazing, Annie. Chimigwech for all of your hard work with this pilot. I know every pilot is so difficult. There's kinks and there's learning curves. So I really want to acknowledge that, Chimigwech. And now we have 700 lessons under our belt. So it's only going to get better.
just to be confirmed, Araland, Pikangikum, Webequie, and Matagami that are here.
Amazing. All right. I don't know if the group can just give a round of applause for the 6 pilot schools. Yes, just a big chimigwech, and I wish I could be there to acknowledge that in person.
Did you hear that? They did a nice round of applause there.
Yay. And also to all the schools. I know that all of you aren't in these 6 pilot schools, but I know that everyone's doing important work with the students' mental well-being. So certainly don't want to miss the opportunity to thank each and every one of you for all the work you do. Awesome. Okay, so we have our facilitators from Noojimo. They co-facilitate these lessons with the teachers. And every time I say that, people kind of freak out. But the idea is to build also capacity. When we braid the gifts of these Indigenous mental health professionals with the teachers, we want to build capacity through these lessons. And so perhaps the first 7 lessons, some teachers are comfortable with mental wellness more than others. So it depends on the teacher. But by the 7th lesson, we see a shift in teachers where they create more confidence. They have more ability to share their own story and connect with the students in a positive way where, perhaps they felt more, shy about it, or perhaps it's a difficult conversation for some topics that could be personal as well. So that's why the mental health professional is there. Okay, so again, we really, really want to emphasize that this pilot is about celebrating the students' ownership and leadership and their own agency and recognizing them as pivotal change agents for this intergenerational healing. So that's really the intention of the pilot. The gift sets of those 2 are there to support that journey. And we work with all the community resource. Again, we're the backup goalie. We work with, some of the community's invited elders, knowledge keepers within this pilot, other mental wellness, care workers, support workers. So we really emphasize on the spirit of collaboration because we recognize the need needs all of us. And it's powerful to see that energy come together. So I wonder if I can show you a lesson plan. Is everybody interested in seeing what it looks like? Okay, maybe before I share the lesson plan of what it looks like, it was co-developed by Indigenous teachers and again, some of the Noojimo clinicians. And so it's got that both, areas of gifts there. And then it was tied to the Ministry of Education. So I'll show you in a minute, but all of the grades, curriculum expectations are braided into these beautiful lessons. And each grade, there were 14 lessons designed. So 140 total. It's a big project. And I want to acknowledge all the beautiful hard work that was put into developing that. So very cool. Okay, so here's before I jump to a lesson sample, how about this? We can show you the beautiful faces that are leading the change right before our eyes during this first year pilot. I want to highlight, there's so many amazing things the students have done, but certainly want to highlight a few in this time that we have. It was a kindness spreading project where grade 2 students had their beautiful arts displayed in the hallways in Cat Lake at Lawrence Wesley Education Center. And it was just beautiful that, you know, there's words that they're walking down the hallway and grade, you know, all the grades can see these beautiful words like you light up the room. Always, sorry, I'm just reading because it's not as big as normally. Always be true to you. You're amazing just the way you are. Share with others. And that's a beautiful picture of someone sharing. And you are so beautiful. So much wisdom already from these, and it's beautiful to see them shine. This is a fantastic project from Pikangikum at Injoke Bergstick School. So what we have here is a beautiful mural in the front of their school, and it says, Minaba Modswin, the good life helps us soar. And each student took the time to write beautiful messages. And all of these beautiful feathers were, you know, just showing the symbolism of them getting together and doing something kind together to empower each other was very, very powerful. And there's a few more pictures, and there's one of the principals there, Mary, with our facilitator, Clifford, and some beautiful pictures of the students' art. So gorgeous, right? Does everyone agree that this is amazing what the students are doing? Love it. A couple more pictures that, you know, could share more, but here's from Cat Lake. Look at that big hug with Jenna, the facilitator from Noojimo, and some TAs standing proudly beside her with their ribbon skirts. And just can't express how amazing these classes, these schools have been, and their kindness towards Noojimo in this project has been really memorable. And there's a beautiful message there thanking Jenna and her beautiful work all year. And then a couple more. So here's another, like every student in every school was so different. It was exciting to see what they came up with, and their creativity blew us away. Airland, so Johnny Terrio Memorial School, decided to create some sema. So they planted their medicines. And so this was in May. And now they're going to let them grow and take care of them until school's out in June, which is already June. And so they're going to take them home with them in the summer and practice, you know, their smudge and their wellness, you know, tools that they've learned and kept, you know, strengthening their learning. So, and their teachings that, and again, we honor each community's specific teachings. We honor if there's different beliefs in the community, perhaps religious or not. It's all about creating agency within the student and their beliefs. Okay, so that sums it up. I'm going to show you a lesson plan to close out, but as I do that, are there any questions so far?
Doesn't look like it right now.
Okay, can everyone see this Google Drive folder?
Yes, they can.
Awesome. So here's the nuts and bolts, and I will, if you can still see me, for those of you who prefer print, there's this beautiful binder that has all of these Google folders in there so that we can ship the lessons to you as well, for those of you who prefer paper and a binder. There's three things I want to show you. So the first thing I'll show you is how it is Indigenous led, but was tied to the curriculum expectations. So if we go to this folder, I hope you can see it as well. Let me know if you can't see this. But here are the grade 1 to 3 expectations, grade 4 to 6, grade 7 to 8, and grade 9 to 10. So each of the lessons were tied and braided with these. Just want to acknowledge that. And so this is what it looks like. If I can go. Okay. I hope you can still see where I am. I'm going to jump to the book list now, the book list. So each lesson, because it's 14 lessons, 2 of the lessons are in community. We open and close the pilot in community, and then in between it's virtual. So there are 12 lessons that are virtual. So 2 community visits, 12 virtual. We've also added a lot of materials, you know, as it was designed by teachers. There's materials to go along with the lessons, some of which are, there's 45. This is really, really cool. There's 45 books that were curated, and 97% of them are Indigenous authors. And so if we look at the book list here, you're able to see all of the beautiful books, which again, 95, 97%, I don't know, but almost all of them are Indigenous authors. And I'll even go to the grade 9 and 10 books. You might recognize some of these books, but we can share the list as well with you. Braiding Sweetgrass by Nicole Needhart. So that's the book list. And then we have for older grades, you know, of course, videos and other engaging material. And then here's the last part I'll show you. So there's grade 1 lessons. So if you go into that folder, the 14 lessons are here. Boom, they're all here. You have 14. They're organized by big ideas because teachers created this. So we're going to go with the big ideas. And when we load up a lesson plan, this is what each of the 14 lesson plans look like. This is the template. And so they'd all look the same, and they're all consistent with the lesson plan from the ministry. So what we have here is big idea 1 for grade 1, understanding my emotions and feelings. Now, within the big idea 1, we have 5 lessons. So we have introduction of sharing circles and all of the rest. So every lesson opens and closes with a circle. Then when we go down this lesson plan, we can see how we're tying this lesson plan to the overall curriculum expectations for grade 2 students. So whether that's social emotional learning skills, active living, etc. This is the nicely designed part where I find it's easy to see, okay, the session time is 40 minutes. All the classes are typically 40 minutes and sometimes 35 for the younger groups, just so if they can stay focused on it. We have our learning outcomes. So here's a learning goal for this lesson. This class, I will be learning the importance of a sharing circle, how to participate in a sharing circle, and that a sharing circle is a safe space to share my feelings. And then when I'm completed this lesson, I can participate in a sharing circle in a respectful way, and I can speak about the special qualities of a sharing circle. So there's lesson description. This is one of our favorite parts, of course, this is where we tie in, we braid Indigenous worldviews on wellness. We, you know, ask the schools, do you want to bring language, culture? What do you want to bring? Elders, knowledge holders, anyone from the school or community this is their role. We want to empower that and collaborate with it. So then the teacher knows, okay, for this lesson, here are my materials. I need the book, you know, the Sharing Circle by the Indigenous author, Teresa Larson Jonassen. And then here's what we talk about. So there's tons of prompts for teachers who are not comfortable or not familiar. And then there's a Minds On activity, which is that book we just talked about. And then the activity for the grade 2s or grade 1s is to participate in the circle. And then within 40 minutes, this is all completed. Teachers and clinicians can add their notes about the class, what went well, what could we, you know, focus on, what's the context of this week, what's happening currently in their lives in the community. So all of that could be rated as well. Okay, I hope that wasn't too much. I'm going to pause there because that is the presentation. So I will share my screen one more time to share a big chimigwach for today and allowing us to share the excellent leadership from students and NAN in this MinOB pilot. We are looking to expand from 6 schools to as many schools as possible. So if this is something that interests you, please reach out. That is my email. And yeah, chimigwach.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, we have one on the floor here. Hold on.
Hi, Val. It's just Sherry.
Oh, hi, Sherry.
It was great. Thank you so much. If someone here is interested in getting their community involved in this, do they just give you a call? Is that all they have to do?
Absolutely. Yes. And can you see my contact info
Yes.
on the screen? There it is. If you're interested, yes, please do call me and that'll be the quickest way to get started.
Okay. And if they wanted to just look at some of the curriculum first, would they be able to get access to
Yes.
that?
Yes, very good question. We can certainly share that with you. There's some schools that have called and I just, 10, 15 minutes, walk them through so they have a bit of context and then I can share the folder with them to review.
Which, thank you so much, Val.
You got Sherry.
And by the way, that strange text that I sent you this morning was because of Brent. He said to text the last person that you talked to. So that was his fault.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that was for me, but I'll take it.
I'm not a weird stalker person.
No, that was meant to be a good thing. That was meant to be a good thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Valerie and also Bill. Let's give them a nice round of applause, please.
Yes, so if it's okay with you, can I ask Bill to close for this? If there's nothing.
Yeah.
anything
By all
else
means,
missing?
go for it. Yes.
Watch.
Oh, hold on. You have a question on the floor. Hold on.
Okay. You bet.
Hi Val, thanks for the presentation. So Pekachicum has been involved in this and from the start. And I just was texting the administrators as you were doing your presentation, asking for some feedback that they've been hearing from teachers and so on. So very, very good program that it's linked to the curriculum in such a way and the expectation's really good. The only thing that they say would probably is something that might be improved. I don't know if there's a way. They said when Clifford was in the community, it went great. I mean, the in-face or in-person session go really well. And if more of that can be built into the programming and the partnerships, that would be good. And I know that's a cost thing and all of that, but it probably would improve things. Zoom and this way of connection, we know works somewhat, but the ideal it
Yep.
probably is not, especially when we're talking about mental health, because you need to build those relationships with the students. So if the lessons are being delivered, even though they're with the teachers, if they're being delivered from somebody they don't really know, that probably would be strengthened if there was more face-to-face or person-to-person contact. That's the only feedback that we said. It's a great program.
Miigwech, and I couldn't agree more. And so we will be asking ISK for more funding. If anyone's remiss there in the room, I apologize. But yes, I agree with you. And you're echoing many of the feedback we're receiving is it's great, but being in person more often would be even greater. And it's not perfect, right? The pilot is this in its first year. So I'm just glad that we have those trials and errors out of the way and we can make it better now. Thank you.
So we got another comment, Valerie. He said to put up a QR code for the people with cameras for your information.
Hey,
Just to let you
I'm
know,
not that fancy. Thank you, though.
Just to
I'll
let
try
you
to
know-
get fancy with that
just
for
to
the
let you
next
know.
one.
Sorry, just to let you know, and everybody that's listening, QR code monkey, I think it's called. 3 QR codes. You can link it up to your I have one actually for my business card. So instead of handing out a business card, I show them my QR code and it goes directly right to my website and it's free. Just to let you know.
Oh,
See,
okay,
there you go. Just to let you know.
perfect. I love that. I'm gonna try that out.
Okay, we'll get Bill to close out your presentation and then we have a couple of notes there for our participants.
Congrats.
Goal for having us here today. And Val, I hope your travels home are safe. And sorry you didn't get to do that third dimension. And I know that that is a piece, PEACE, that is missing sometimes when we do deliver care virtually. There's no question that I wish I could share this with you and walk around and offer that to you face to face. I wish there was ways of doing that. And we're learning our dance steps too, you know, as a virtual mental health clinic. We're still learning our way around trying to deliver two-eyed seeing approach in a two-dimensional approach. So with that, I want to send our gratitude for doing this pilot with us, to walking alongside with us as we try to deliver something new and as we grow together in a new way of providing knowledge, safety to talk about your mental health when we're children. You know, that these are the things that we were not allowed to do. We weren't allowed to talk about how we felt, about what we knew, about what was important to us. So I like that smudge for every time we were not heard, or every time someone promised you they would be there with and for you and they couldn't or didn't show. So I like that for that reason. Because sometimes that's we try to promise people the things we hope we can give them, and we feel like we've fallen short. But we're trying our best. That's what this is all about, us getting together, sitting in circle, trying our best. Regardless if the circle has 2 or 3 dimensions, we are trying our best too. And I put that out there for what you're trying to do, because I know COVID sure did put your dominant hand behind your back and you had to do all that work with your non-dominant hand. And it made us all feel a little awkward. So Nyawa Goa, and thank you again for having us in your space and in your community. And be selfish when it comes to your wellness, and then be a really well person as best you can make yourself when you go to help another. Nyawa Goa.
Bill.
Thank you very much.
Miigwech.
Yeah, thank you very much, Valerie and Bill. Again, one more time for the presentation.